Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalk. Glad to be here. My name is Jay Gonzalez, and I'm here with Mr. Jake Berry, who's our Director of Marketing and Community Information. Also here with Captain Montemayor and our Chief, Joey Silva. Here to talk about some important information. On the 18th of August, we had a town hall meeting regarding safety. And in that town hall meeting, we had a thought exchange, and we promised the community that we'd come back out and address the top rated thoughts. So that's why we're here today. We're going to quickly go through the questions and do our best to answer them. And they all revolve around safety. And as you know, safety is a priority for us in McAllen ISD. So Jake, what do we have with regard to thought exchange?
Well, our first question, our main question that was asked to us was, have more police on campus, install more cameras, have people buzzed in from the outside, and don't allow anyone to enter unless being buzzed in, to secure the safety of our children.
And that one, obviously, the top rated thought, because it hits a lot of great points. And I will say, Chief, when you look at our police force, how many officers do we have?
We're 62 strong.
Okay, so at this point, we're 62 officers, certified peace officers. And what walks of life do they come from?
Certified peace officers, 16.8 years is the average police experience that any one officer holds within our police department. They're trained throughout the year, active shooter, mental health. It just comes from various types of training, but they also come from different walks of life. You have some officers that come from city PDs, some that come from state agencies, some that come from the sheriff's office. So at the end of the day, everybody brings something to the table when it comes to those individuals we have with the department. And
it's that synergy that we're looking for. And I know that I feel comfortable as a dad knowing that my children are in a school where there's a certified peace officer, and parents across our community should feel safe as well, just knowing that if you have an elementary child, well, there's an officer there. If you have a middle school child, there's an officer there. And if you have children at the high school, well, there's 4 officers there. So we also have officers on patrol, and we're doing our very best to protect our children and our staff. As far as buzzing people in and security foyers, layers of security, the team's done a great job of putting layers of security into the works. So if you look at schools now, you walk up to them and you do have to enter a security foyer, and you do have to present your ID that's run through a Raptor system to make sure that everything's cleared from the DPS. And when you walk through the security foyer, you will see a police officer that will then be at a podium providing another layer of support. So our camera systems are robust. You may not see a human in an area, but we do have cameras in areas that are high traffic where we may not necessarily have people that are there on post all day long. And Captain, we do have officers that are manning monitors throughout the day with regard to all these cameras. How does that work?
The way it works is we got hundreds of cameras, as you well know. But more importantly, what we try to do is monitor the campuses where it's heavily trafficked. For example, high schools, during the lunch period, you have a lot of congregation. So our camera monitors that are stationed at the PD, they're constantly looking at different areas of the high volume area. But at the same time, when we get information of any traffic, it could be from a fire alarm or whatever you want to call it, even a mental health crisis, right away we'll put that school up on the camera screen. And it's a video wall that's probably about a 10 by 17 feet big. Mm-hmm. And also we use that camera system for emergency operations center as well.
Very good. So if I am a campus police officer and a camera monitor sees something maybe in the lunch area that doesn't look right, then they would automatically communicate with the officer to let them know that something in the lunchroom looks suspicious. Is that kind of how it works?
That's how it works. As a matter of fact, our camera monitors do have a radio system there, 2 radios. One radio will be straight to the police officer, and the other radio is the administrative campus radio for administration as well. So in case you have some kids that are not supposed to be at a certain area, right away they'll radio, you know what, they're in hallway 100 wearing so-and-so, and they're up. It sounds like they're looking suspicious, or they look suspicious, or they're supposed to be in class.
And another question with regard to radios, because I know that that's a key way that we communicate, but there are other entities across our community that also have radios. Do we have a certain channel that we can go to and communicate with, let's say, DPS or CDPD or Sheriff's Department? And if so, how does that work?
Definitely. Of course, there's an incident that happened years ago when it was an active shooter that happened in La Jolla. And one of the things discovered out of that incident was communication. There is a regional channel that's mandated by the state of Texas that we have to be monitoring that regional channel. And that's through basically the whole southern region of Texas. When it comes to an individual radios, there's a 800 trunk. Doesn't mean that it has 800 frequencies, but it means that you have the luxury to go ahead and switch it into your neighboring cities. Like for us, we got McAllen in our radios, and also McAllen has ours as well. Now, in the event that something does happen, that hopefully it never happens, but if something does happen in one of our campuses that McAllen and us need to communicate in a split second, it's called a patching system. And all this is a push of a button where the two frequencies will become one, and automatically we start communicating to each other.
Very good. Well, thank you for that information. And that's the power of the SuperTalk, is that you're able to get information out to the community. And when you couple that with thought exchange, then you're able to address thoughts that everybody felt were important. And we just addressed the top rated thought. We'll move on to the next one.
Monthly drills and checking all visitors. I've been on campus 3 times this month to volunteer. I have a large purse. It was never checked. It scares me how easily one can take firearms onto campus.
And that's one thing that we're always challenged with regard to people's privacy and things of that sort. But just know that we're using our camera systems. Our officers are very observant. Our campus administrators are observant. We're not at a stage right now where we're going to create security that's geared more toward an airport. You know, that's ultra secure, where you're having to empty your belongings and things of that sort. We're not there yet. But we do feel comfortable with regard to the layers of support and the layers of security that we do currently have in place. The thing that makes me most proud is our police force. I mean, that's one there that as a parent and as an educator, it makes me feel very, very comfortable and very confident in our abilities to protect our students and our staff. So that you cannot put a price tag on, the 62 officers that we have. But on top of all the work we've done around cameras, and we're nowhere near perfect, but we've come a long way with regard to cameras, with regard to our doors, our security foyers, with regard to our Raptor system, and all the things that we're doing around safety and security. So if you're coming into a building, just know to be patient with us as you work through your layers of security before you get into one of our buildings. And with regard to doors, we're in the process right now of making sure that we work as a team. And it's a team. It's a team that we have to work like a finely oiled machine to make sure that we're doing our part as parents, and the school's doing their part to remind everybody the importance of closing doors and keeping doors locked and things of that sort. But when it comes to school safety, the bottom line is it's a community effort. It takes everybody. It takes moms and dads, uncles and aunts, grandmothers, grandfathers. It takes everybody, the entire family unit at home, working in unison with the school district. It's not a one-way street here. So I wanted to emphasize the importance of parents having conversations with their students about what's right and what's wrong, and things to look for with regard to safety and how to avoid being bullied and how to never be a bully and things of that sort, how to report information that you feel is not right and who to report it to. You know, if there's a student out there that needs help, is not feeling like they're being supported in any given manner, they can reach out to the campus administration. If they're having any kind of issues with regard to the psychosocial perspective of how they're feeling psychologically, we have counselors, we have the family treatment program. So there's a lot of people that are there to help. What's our next question?
Our next question or thought was better our school facilities, add more law enforcement officers on campus. There's been too many shootings in schools.
I agree. And I think that in talking to Chief, he'd be the first one to say, hey, I can use a couple more officers. That would help when people go on FMLA. That would help when people are out on sick days. That'll help when people have family emergencies or when people are out to lunch. But at this point, the 62 officers that we have, along with all the tools that they have at their disposal, all the equipment that they have, that we won't get into detail, but we feel very confident that we could address any given situation effectively and neutralize any situation effectively, given the need. So I'm comfortable with regard to challenges when you start to look at more officers. That's one that we'll entertain. We're not there yet, but I did want the parents to know, the staff to know, and the students to know that our game plan is solid right now with the 62 officers that we have. And what was the other part of the question, Jake?
add more law enforcement and better our school facilities.
Yeah, the school facilities part is another one where it's going to take a team effort. We have to come together as a community and decide what we want our schools to look like. We have to come together as a community and decide what local effort we want to put into working as a team to put ourselves in a position in the future to really address facility needs. But at this point, we're doing the very best that we can with the funding that we have to put schools in a position where they're as safe as they can possibly be.
Our next thought, my fourth grader has said the lock on her portable classroom has been broken all year. While I feel safe about the main buildings, the portable buildings are not. Portable buildings are vulnerable.
And that's one of the things that's a challenge whenever you have a district that does have portable buildings. For obvious reasons, you're not in the main building. They're more exposed to the community. Now, we have done a great job as a district ensuring that our portables are fenced in. And we've done a great job in putting systems in place where officers know part of their rounds is to check on portables, and teachers know that they're to lock their portable doors. We've done a good job on making sure that our locks are working effectively. Now, there is, in this thought, a point was made with regard to a lock not working appropriately, and that can be addressed as soon as it's brought to the administration's attention. And also the staff knows if something's not working appropriately, that they report it to the campus administration, and then facilities maintenance and operation will do the very best that they can to get over there as fast as they can. And at the same time, officers would know in portable B, room A, the lock is not working appropriately. So maybe a little more attention would be
Correct.
put into that particular area. So.
Correct. Yeah. So based on what the state came back and mandated for us was the weekly exterior door audits. So that being considered is the portable building doors are actually considered exterior doors. So those are checked on a daily basis. And to my understanding is that every single door in the portables have been fixed.
Yeah. And I know a lot of effort, and I do want to thank the facilities maintenance and operation department. I want to thank chief and captain and the entire team, because it was a team effort to make sure that we met the standards set forth by the state. And the team hustled, and proud to report that our doors are, for the most part, I'm not going to say 100%, but pretty close to 100%. And those that aren't working at this point are being addressed as fast as humanly possible.
And our final thought that rose to the top, our top five, out of our top five, our last thought is more police patrolling the schools, and more police inside the schools and earlier in the day.
Talk to us about that, Chief. How does it work with regard to patrol? How is that set up? And I know you can't give us too much detail for obvious reasons, but be as transparent as you can be with regard to when police officers are on campus and patrol and things of that sort.
Absolutely. So we got numerous patrol officers on the road. They're out there running traffic, making sure that kids are crossing the designated crossing points. The officers on campus, it all depends. It's all dependent upon the amount of traffic, when your biggest amount or biggest group of people are coming in to drop off their children at school. So all that's being taken in consideration to make sure that the officers are there during those rush hour times, so to speak. But what I do want to point out is that, and you hit the nail on the head, when you mentioned about everybody getting involved, because safety is everybody's responsibility. But take it a step further. Talk to your kids, about safety. Check their backpacks. Make sure they're not taking something to school that they can't. If you do have firearms in the home, make sure that they're locked up. That they're in a safe. Medication. Make sure that that's not within arm's reach of the children, to make sure that they don't get it. Bring it to school, and it could be accidental. But at the end of the day, when they end up having those types of things in school, it's contraband. So we want to be able to make sure that everybody's talking to their parents, or the parents are talking to their kids about all this particular type stuff.
And that's great advice. So to all the parents out there, just be vigilant. Get with your kids and have conversations about the importance of being the very best that they can be, and following the student code of conduct, and being a good boy, good girl, not getting into trouble. But the point that the chief made with regard to, we understand this is Texas, and many people do have firearms, but the way that you secure your firearms, the way you utilize gun safes, the way that you keep your ammo away from your firearms, the way that you educate your children around gun safety, I mean, that's a big part of being a gun owner. So to all the gun owners out there, telling you something you already know, just be as responsible as you can, and and make sure that your children understand the rules of engagement when it comes to dealing with firearms. Captain, anything on the training side with regard to what you're seeing with our officers and trainings that have occurred, trainings that are coming up?
Well, I mean, reflecting back to wanting more police officers. I like to elaborate a couple of things. When it comes to the defense of the United States, our number one defense is intel. And how are you going to get that intel? The community. And like the chief said, it takes an effort of everybody. Same thing goes with the school district. Know your kids, know your kid's friend. And if you see something, say something. When it comes to training, you could have one solo officer respond to a crisis. But if he's got all the skills and all the tools necessary, he can go ahead and neutralize that situation. And I feel confident that our department has given that opportunity to every school police officer that we have employed with us. I feel proud of the department. I retired from a bigger agency of 900 personnel. We had 360 sworn officers there. I was an upper command. Looking where I'm sitting back and looking at our officers, oh yeah, we're ready. And I feel that every officer out there is well-equipped, very skilled, and can take of any task possible.
Well, thank you, Captain, and thank you, Chief, and thank you, Mr. Barry, and to all the parents and to all the kids out there listening to the Super Talk. Let's work together. Let's continue working as a team to keep McAllen ISD not only high performing but also safe. And just know that we're doing all that we can. Our number one priority is the safety of our students and our staff, and we're committed to doing that at a world-class level. So I hope that the Super Talk was beneficial, and we will stay tuned with regard to any changes coming up at the state level and any mandates around school safety. Please know that McAllen ISD will be right on the cutting edge of keeping up with all those things. But as for now, your children are as safe as they can possibly be in McAllen ISD. Have a wonderful afternoon.